I know we don't have the attention spans anymore, but how can you forget the man who wanted to nuke a hurricane? That actually happened. The thing that gets me the most is there are people who are saying we're worse off than we were in 2020. In 2020, we didn't even have toilet paper. He told us to inject ourselves with disinfectant! We turned to him for advice, and dude was like, kill yourself.
Did Leslie Jones just end Trump's comeback hopes with one savage word? The comedian's recent takedown has gone viral, comparing Trump's pandemic advice to a toddler playing doctor and making millennials everywhere nod in agreement. From suggesting we nuke hurricanes to his COVID response that Jones described as using single-ply toilet paper to clean up a sewage explosion, we'll break down how Jones used humor to highlight the absurdity of Trump's leadership style. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Remember when the biggest presidential scandal was Obama wearing a tan suit? Leslie Jones sure does, and she's using it to absolutely torch Donald Trump in her latest comedy special. Jones had the audience howling as she compared the ridiculous scandals of the Obama years to the complete chaos of the Trump administration.
Every time I turn on the news, I'm shouting at the screen like it's a horror movie. Don't go in there, America! Leatherface is in there, America! And listen, I know some people don't care about January 6th, but let me remind you about something real quick. He was also a terrible president! I mean, are we gonna really bring back a man who tried to overthrow the government? This is like asking Jeffrey Epstein to watch your kids.
We used to lose our minds because Obama ordered Dijon mustard on his burger, Jones joked, throwing her hands up in mock outrage. Like that was somehow un-American. Meanwhile, Orange Turd over here is on TV suggesting we nuke hurricanes, and suddenly that's just a normal Tuesday. The comedian didn't hold back when detailing how quickly Americans normalized Trump's bonkers behavior. She pointed out how we went from being shocked when a president wore the wrong color suit to barely batting an eye when Trump suggested literally bombing weather events. And let's not forget the time he stared directly at a solar eclipse or drew on an official hurricane map with a Sharpie to avoid admitting he made a mistake. This man literally told people to inject disinfectant during a pandemic, Jones exclaimed, eyes wide with disbelief. If I told my friend to put Lysol in their veins, they'd have me committed. But when the president says it, we just add it to the pile of crazy and move on. Jones had the audience in stitches when she described Trump's approach to complex issues. This man's solution to everything is like a 5-year-old's. Immigration problem, big wall, hurricane coming, nuke it, pandemic, inject bleach. Next thing you know, he'll be suggesting we solve inflation by printing more money or fix climate change with a really big fan.
The election is now less than 8 months away, and guess what? America is on the path to doing something really, really stupid.
A new CBS News poll shows 46% of registered voters remember the Trump-era presidency as excellent or good, compared to President Biden's 33%.
New Fox News polls finding former President Trump leading President Biden by 5 points nationally in a head-to-head matchup. This is his biggest lead yet against Joe Biden.
What made Jones's takedown so devastating wasn't just the laughs, it was the brutal truth behind her comedy. When she finally dropped that one powerful word to describe Trump, harmful, the audience fell silent for a moment before erupting in applause. Bringing back Trump would be like going back to your toxic ex, Jones said, her voice suddenly serious. We all know it's harmful, we've seen the evidence, but some of us are still like, maybe this time will be different. It's like how we know eating a whole pizza at 2 a.m. is a bad idea, but we do it anyway and act surprised when we feel like garbage the next day. While Americans were fighting over toilet paper like it was going to be worth more than Bitcoin, our so-called leader was busy sharing medical advice that would make Dr. Oz blush. Leslie Jones didn't hold back when addressing Trump's pandemic leadership, comparing it to a toddler playing doctor during an actual health crisis when real expertise was desperately needed. Remember how Trump somehow managed to make a global pandemic about himself? Jones pointed this out brilliantly. While we were rationing toilet paper like it was the apocalypse, she joked, "This This man was tweeting about TV ratings. The audience couldn't contain themselves as she painted the absurd picture of Americans panicking in grocery stores while the president was essentially asking, "But how do I look on television?"
I could go on and on about why it would be a terrible idea to bring back Trump. But you know what? I guess I shouldn't be surprised that America is about to do something that we know is harmful to us, because that is what we always do. We are constantly making decisions that we know are bad for us. We know we should be eating healthy, but instead we eat like shit. We're out here eating double-stuffed Oreos and triple-decker sandwiches.
Some patrons had to wait as long as 8 hours. This week's opening featured customers even braving cold temperatures to camp out overnight just to be the first in line.
He told us to inject ourselves with disinfectant! We turned to him for advice, and dude was like, "Kill yourself."
The real kicker came when Jones revealed something that wasn't just comedy material. It was genuinely terrifying. After Trump's infamous "maybe we should inject disinfectant" moment, poison control centers across the country experienced a significant spike in calls. Let that sink in. Real people were considering medical advice from a man whose healthcare expertise begins and ends with trying to get his name on hospital wings. Jones had the crowd in stitches when she described Trump's entire pandemic response as using single-ply toilet paper to clean up a sewage explosion. Useless and leaving everyone in deep, well, you get it. But beneath the laughter was a brutal critique of his fundamental approach to crisis management, attacking complex problems with dangerously simplistic solutions. The comedian didn't just mock Trump's sledgehammer approach to problem solving. She questioned what that mindset meant for serious issues affecting millions of Americans. When your go-to solution for any challenge is essentially hit it harder, you might not be the right person to guide a nation through unprecedented health and economic crises. What makes Jones's commentary so effective isn't just the jokes, it's how she seamlessly weaves in the sobering reality behind the comedy. Each punchline carried the weight of actual consequences for real people who suffered during the pandemic, while their president suggested unproven treatments and miracle cures that never materialized. And in true Trump fashion, he couldn't just let Leslie Jones's comedy stand without a response. The thin-skinned former president immediately fired back, calling Jones unfunny, which honestly just proves her point better than she ever could. Nothing demonstrates presidential temperament quite like getting triggered by a comedian's jokes, right? What makes Jones's takedown so brilliant isn't just the laughs, it's how she uses comedy as a mirror, reflecting the absurdity we've somehow normalized. Her closing line hits harder than a fact checker at a Trump rally. We've seen this show before, and trust me, the reruns ain't worth it. Comedy has become our collective coping mechanism for processing the political clown show. While we're laughing, Jones reminds us there's actually something serious at stake. Our standards for leadership have fallen faster than Trump's approval ratings after suggesting we drink bleach.